it's a rare occasion that Bill Murray goes around actually marketing a movie that he's in. So when I saw him doing the rounds on like Joe Rogan, Hot Ones, I had to see the movie he was going around and raving about because it takes a lot to get him out of his little his shell. So we're talking about Riff Raff, and he had a lot of praise for it, but the reviews don't quite match up with what he had to say. So let's take a look and see for ourselves if Riff Raff lives up to the hype that Bill Murray gave it on all his podcast appearances. They must have paid him a fuck ton of money to go around promoting the movie, because that, coupled with the trailer, really leads you to believe that he and Pete Davidson are the leads of the movie, and they really aren't. They're in like a couple of scenes. They're mainly side characters, and the central focus of this movie is on this dysfunctional, mismatched family, which isn't a criticism, by the way, just an observation. Bill Murray and Pete Davidson are not the leads in this movie. This was directed.
They're the antagonists.
They're the antagonists, yep. But goddamn, what an all-star cast. We got Jennifer Coolidge, Ed Harris, Gabrielle Union, Lewis Pullman, Pete Davidson, Bill Murray. So basically, Ed Harris, he plays a retired, I guess, probably like mafia hitman type of guy.
Yep.
And he's carved out a nice little life for himself. He married Gabrielle Union, who's like much, much younger, a stepfather to her son, DJ, who's played by Miles J. Harvey. His real son, played by Lewis Pullman, Rocco, and his pregnant girlfriend, Marina, show up with a passed out Ruth, which is Jennifer Coolidge, and sort of some chaos ensues over the course of a couple of days. Johnny is Bill Murray's son, and he's sort of a hothead, sort of crazy guy. Rocco is dating his former girlfriend, gets her pregnant, pisses him off. A fight breaks out at a restaurant one day, and Rocco has to unfortunately kill Johnny, and now Bill Murray's character is out for revenge. Very, very simple plot, but I really enjoyed it. What'd you think?
Oh yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I thought the explanation in the end, because you really don't understand why it happens, and then he sits down and talks to his dad about it, and the ignorance that Bill's character portrays, like it's brilliant. Like it's like that's how people are, like in the real world. You say something on Twitter, and you get 100 replies of people not knowing what the fuck they're talking about, saying ridiculous shit. So I mean, it's a really sad story, this story that we're talking about, because he's like, I can't have kids, I don't have the sperm count or whatever it is. And he's like, well, you can't get in a hard on, or what are you gay? What's going on here? You couldn't get a girl pregnant. Well, you get out of my house. Like, the way that the whole scene played out was brilliant. And you don't leave it there. You kind of, you're wondering what happened. I love this movie. Pete Davidson's character, I think Pete's a psychopath in real life, so he played this amazingly. There was so much, just the scenes. Like, this is one of those slow burn. You're not going to get a lot of the story. You're just seeing what's happened to the characters, but it's fascinating.
Yeah, I love this movie. Honestly, I thought it was great. Very pleasantly surprised. I saw the reviews. I cannot for the life of me understand why this movie is getting shit on the way it is. It's got a 5.7 on IMDb, 59% rotten. I thought it was acted well. I thought it was a really funny movie. Like, I laughed quite a bit.
Absolutely.
And I thought it was like a really warm and like sort of like nice movie about a family, but like with this like weird little twist to it.
The hook of it is like, you get this opening scene where Ed is looking at DJ and he's like, go ahead, son, pull the trigger. And like, oh, and then they flash away from it.
Yeah.
And then they gave you this twist of like, this is actual son. I didn't know that was his son until after that scene. So you're like, okay, so this is his son. Something's going to happen. Like, he's going to piss his son off or something, or you're just left guessing like what's going to happen. So it's just, I thought it was brilliantly written and like you said, acted. So
yeah.
I don't know. I think we're going to give this a really good score, and it's going to become a cult classic, and we'll be vindicated later on down the road. And all the people that gave it crappy scores will
we might
feel
be
like idiots. That's what I feel is going on here.
The bulk of the story is about the family and like their sort of like past and present interactions. Jennifer Coolidge is like the drunk sort of mom who like loved Vincent, who's Ed Harris's character, but like they're not together anymore, and she's kind of still got like a chip on her shoulder about it. Ed Harris put his old life aside, family included, it seems, because he's a little bit estranged from Rocco and Ruth, and he's kind of started over. DJ is like his stepson and is like very smart, gonna go to college, and like he's really into science and stuff. And Sandy's like his wife, who's sort of enamored by him for some reason, even though he's like much older than her. And it was just really fun to see these two families like interacting as one. And like I thought it was really cool to see Rocco interact with DJ. Like there's that moment where he like yells at him in the car and says, if I wanted your opinion, I'd smack it out of you. But then he like apologizes, and like there's mostly him being a big brother to DJ, who's his like, yeah, it's his stepbrother, but like it's his little brother. And he's treating him that way. And like these are all like nice people. Like, yeah, they're involved in crime or whatever.
Well, Ed Harris trying to do the right, like he admittedly had a tumultuous relationship with his son, and so he's trying to redo it and do it right. Except he's doing it with DJ. So that's I mean, and I can relate to this wholeheartedly because I grew up in a divorced family. So
I did too.
Like that stuff hits.
He says at the end of the movie, Ed Harris, when like some of the shit comes out, the big reveal, he says like, I'm a good man. Like he screams it. And it's like, you know, it just brings up questions of like redemption and like forgiveness, and like how those themes not just apply to like all people, like, because, you know, it's like a philosophical thing. Are we worthy of forgiveness? Is that something that we should dish out? But specifically in a family. And the kid, DJ, he narrates some of the movie, and at the end he talks about like he talks about family even though we're not blood, and like those relationships in a family. Like there's nothing like your family. There's nobody closer to you. Why hold a grudge? You can't like carry all this like anger and hatred and stuff from the past because it's your family. I just thought they did a really good job with it, and I thought those themes worked really well. Throughout the movie, we get little bits and pieces of how this new family unit came together between Ed Harris and Sandy, his current wife. And she was dating a guy, Lawrence, I think was his name. That's DJ's biological dad, and you get little bits and pieces that DJ never met his dad. He got into a car accident and died. And this was genuinely like a twist that I didn't see coming somehow, because I was more focused on like the other part of it. But it turns out that Ed Harris, in an attempt to scare Sandy's boyfriend because he was cheating on her and stuff, he punched him and he fell over and hit his head on like a desk or something, and ended up dying. So he covered it up. And that's how he ended up with Sandy. He actually killed her then boyfriend or whatever, and DJ's biological dad. And it's like a big twist in the movie, and Sandy gets pissed off and she like threatens to kill him and whatever. And it turns out Jennifer Coolidge shoots him in the neck, but doesn't kill him. And it was just like a weird scene at first, but the more I thought about it, I was like, no, this is just like a fun, stylized way to show about like letting go of like that past anger and trauma that I just talked about, right? In a normal real life situation, you would talk it out and like bury the hatchet and put those things behind you. In the movie, she shoots him in the neck because they're a crime family. Like that's just
but I took it that a little bit differently too as
closure.
Well. I took that as a if I can't have him, nobody can, because in the seconds preceding the gunshot, she said I was his or he was, because they're all talking about who was the love that changed their life.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, he was mine or I was his. Mm-hmm. And it gave me that of if I can't have him, nobody can. And I'm going to shoot this mother and kill him, is how I took that.
I thought that at first, but then when at the end they're sitting around the table together and they've like accepted each other as like we're a family despite being disjointed and stuff. So it just seemed to like, in retrospect, it was just like a sort of closure type of thing maybe, but
yeah. Well, I think she may have tried and then realized she made a mistake and is glad that he wasn't dead because she still gets to be around him. So
yeah, that might be
but
true.
I get what but I mean, either way, whichever way you want to take that scene, it was a great scene.
Yeah. Now, the movie doesn't do like the best job of hiding the fact that Rocco killed Bill Murray's son. You kind of like figure that out pretty quickly, but you don't really understand the exact circumstances of it until the end of the movie where they reveal it. And it turns out that you think Johnny is like this, he's got a lot of different women, and Marina mentions it like, oh, you know, Johnny and his women, like he's got a lot of them. He mentions it. Rocco goes to him at one point, and when he's considering dating Marina, he's like, hey, do I have your blessing? Johnny gives him his blessing and kind of makes like a snide comment and is like, I'm messing with another chick right now on the side. Don't worry about it. Like, you got my blessing. But what really happened, Marina wanted to have a baby. Johnny wanted to have a baby, but he was infertile. So he goes to his dad, Bill Murray, and says, Dad, I don't know what to do. Like, I love this girl, but I can't have a kid. And Bill Murray, as an older man from an older time in the mafia of like this world of tough guys where like, this is my legacy, like my son, my name, like it needs to go on and carry on. And Bill Murray takes offense to the fact that his son can't provide that. He can't extend the family name by having a son of his own. So
even if he misconstrues about how it's not happening.
I don't think it's him misconstruing it. I think it's him just like not even being capable of like understanding it. Because again, you talk to an older person like that, they don't know about infertility and like the complicated nature of that. They just see it as simplistic as he did of like, what, you can't get a hard on? It's like, no, Dad, I can. I get hard as a rock, but I just, my sperm, it doesn't work. So what are you, gay? You're going to start sucking dick now? It's like, no, Dad, that's not how it works. Like it was just a funny, but like also
it was brilliant.
Kind of realistic, I think, conversation because just older men from this specific lifestyle, like I don't think they just can't even like wrap their head around it. And of course, this breaks Johnny's heart. He kicks him out. You can't give me a grandson. You're not going to, my family's name is going to die with you. Get out of my house. Well, that sets Johnny off and he gets into that little spat at the restaurant with Rocco and Marina where Rocco has no choice but to kill him because he's pointing a gun at her stomach and he's going to kill her. It was just a good, I feel like, simple little explanation. Like it didn't have to be some like big overblown like crime thing. It was just like, no, I'm defending my babe, my unborn baby and the girl I love. Like you're threatening her and I'm going to do what I got to do.
I thought what was brilliant about this film was how we talk about movies like this at all where not really any of the characters are likable.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue DJ was because he was the one person who was supposed to have it better off than everybody else because of what happened before him. But you're not really supposed to like any of these characters really, but you feel empathy for every one of them at some point in the movie just because of the way life is.
I don't agree that you don't like them. I think it's more of the fact that like they're not likable because of they're crime and selfish and this, that, and the other thing. But I think what they all were depicted so well by the acting and the writing is that you see the possibility of their redemption. And so you're rooting for them despite kind of not like, I guess, liking them. You know what I mean?
But like Johnny's character, like he's basically a dick through the whole movie. You kind of
but then once that reveal
when
happens,
he has that converation with Bill, you're like, oh my God, that's terrible. Like I feel bad for this guy.
And you understand why he might be a dick.
Yeah.
I framed him as being a hothead, but like, is he though? Or was he just in the context that we saw him in? You know what I mean?
Right.
So like each person has like a reason that they are kind of the way they are. The only person I didn't really get that with, and I wish was a little bit more fleshed out, was Pete Davidson's character, Lonnie. He was kind of just the sidekick. And at the end, he's like, everybody thinks I'm slow, but I'm not. And like, that was kind of just, it just felt like a little bit of a throwaway line because like they didn't know what to do with him a little bit. But I still liked him overall, but I wish he was a little bit more fleshed out as like a human being.
The monologue about how, oh, can I take my time with him? Because, he was really nice to me one time. And then, it came out that this wasn't. So I want to take my time with him. Like,
yeah.
Okay, buddy.
No, that was funny. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this movie. Genuinely shocking that it's got such bad reviews. I cannot understand why. There really wasn't a bad thing about this movie that I thought. Like, I thought maybe the ending was a little bit awkward at first, but the more I thought about it, I was like, no, this makes sense in the context of the movie. It's not meant to be like dead serious. It's a comedy. It's like a dark comedy. It was a very smart, very funny, and surprisingly heartfelt story about a family. And maybe I and maybe you relate to it a little bit more. I don't know what your family dynamic was. My parents got divorced when I was in kindergarten. My dad comes over nearly every single night, has dinner with us. He gets along with my stepdad. My dad is very close with my sister, almost like it's his own daughter. And so it's just like a weird, similar dynamic. It's like, yeah, we're two separate sort of families, but like we're one. So maybe I resonated with it a little bit more than some other people out there who watched it. Divorce doesn't mean you have to like completely disappear from a person's life. It just means that we just aren't meant to be together. That's it. I thought this movie portrayed that stuff really, really well. Very, very good. I loved it. I can't really think of anything wrong with it. It has a 5.7 on IMDb. This might be the biggest bump ever just based on the score on IMDb, but I'm going to give this an 8.
I will too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big. It's only not getting a perfect score for me because I think Pete Davidson's character was slightly underdeveloped.
Yeah, and I don't know about like the rewatchability. I'll enjoy rewatching this from time to time, but it's not like, oh man, it's on. I really want to watch it, right? I really need to watch this again. Because there are some movies like Beverly Hills Cop, I could watch that 3 times in one day and I would not be bothered by it. Where this one, you know, I'll be happy to get back to it at some point, but I'm not like chomping at the bit to rewatch it. Definitely a recommend though, for sure.
100%. Folks, if you haven't seen this, or maybe you haven't even heard of it, but go check it out for sure. I get the marketing worked because the only reason I had heard about it is because Bill Murray was on Joe Rogan and every other podcast under the sun. If you haven't seen it, highly recommended from us. Go check it out. Come back when you do watch it and let us know what you thought about it. If you have seen it, leave a comment down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well.